here we go.
Okay.
All right, cool. Hi, my name is Mary Lenoff, and I'm here with Lisa Stambaugh. And I'm just gonna ask her a few questions because we had the pleasure of working together. And I love for Lisa to talk about her experience. So Lisa, before we get into the questions, please let us know your name, where you're from, and what do you do, and who do you serve?
Well, my name is Lisa Stambaugh. I live in California, kind of smack dab in the Silicon Valley, high-tech, crazy capital of whatever. And I'm a writer primarily. I work with clients on web content, bios, LinkedIn profiles, resumes. My focus is really on about me writing, which many people are great at what they do and can explain what they do for their work, but are not good at writing about themselves. They're hesitant, they're shy, they're modest, they're humble. They've got writer's block when it comes to describing themselves. So that's really my writing focus.
Awesome. So before we started to get on a Zoom call, what was your biggest hesitation or skepticism that you had maybe to working with someone on your emails?
Well, I've known for a while that I needed to create a mailing list. I knew that I was going to need to do that for a variety of reasons. I wanted to start a newsletter. I'm launching a course. And I had gathered some names and emails with a lead magnet. And what was really stopping me was I just didn't know the strategy. How many emails and how often do you send them? And what should you be saying? And I sort of procrastinated for 4 or 5 months. So now I have this list of emails, which people have signed up, but I hadn't actually sent them anything. So in addition to not knowing what and not knowing when and not knowing how to say it and not knowing which tool to use, I was also like, oh, how do I jump back in their mailbox when they haven't heard from me since they downloaded my lead magnet? So there were all these factors, and it's just easier to procrastinate than it is to go, what should I do? What should I do? And so, the realization was I had to bring a strategy expert in to start at the top level and figure out the long-term plan.
Yeah, totally makes sense. So what was one thing that maybe when we were working together that is really having a huge impact on your business?
That's having a huge impact on my business? Well, where to start? I'm excited about both launching this course and a newsletter, because I think those are going to have an impact on my business in terms of explaining to people more about what I do and who I am and offering a new alternative way to use my services. And the news and having the email capability is going to be crucial for launching both of those things. Without that email list, I'm much more limited, and I really don't want to be, paying for Facebook ads. And I'll be posting various places, but I think the email is going to be critical to the success of both of those things.
Yeah, totally agree. Is there something that you want to share that maybe came about in our conversation, something that really stuck with you that you want to share, that maybe when we were talking in our conversations that came up to you, that maybe stood out to you the most?
One of the pieces that really impressed me the most was, your suggestion of having a calendar and mapping it out for a month. So then I knew which emails were going when, and it was much easier to build a framework because I could visualize where everything was going. And walking through that sequence of, when you first said you have to do 8 emails for re-engagement, I thought, what the heck am I going to talk about for 8 emails, right? Like, I don't want to inundate them. And yet you had 8 solid messages that each had a purpose and a goal. First it's to welcome them, and second it's to remind them who I am, and then it's make sure I'm whitelisted and all the other pieces. Mm-hmm. And I could come up with stuff to say. Would I have known or understood the logic of that sequence on my own? I don't think so, right? I needed somebody with the experience to say, this is why you need to say this piece at this point in the process. And so that was incredibly helpful. And, having crafted those 8 emails, there were good pieces I could use from those emails in other places as well. So it was highly leveraged and I was able to repurpose.
I love that. Repurposing is so important because it really allows you to break things down to places that you didn't know where it could fit in. So I love what you said about the calendar and making sure that it makes sense, because really that's what we do. We want to let people know what we do in a concise way, but at the same time in a way that flows and gets people to want to be excited to hear about you. So that's awesome. So I know that, right now you're sending out emails to your audience. You wrote them. I coached you through them and we went through them. We reviewed them. What do you think is going to happen in the next, 12 months when it comes to emails? How can the conversations that we had, how are those going to carry you through the next 12 months or even more than a year from now?
Well, if nothing else, the calendar, right? Now I have a way to plan and strategize and visualize what I want to do. And I've put other items on that calendar beyond the ones we talked about, right? Here's the date my cart's opening for my course. Here's the day I'm going to announce opening my newsletter, all that. So just having that piece of a planning, and I am a planner in general. So I love the idea that I'll have the date, the topic, I can write my newsletters in advance or however far I want to, and have them programmed and ready to go out and not stress, because I know I've talked to people where they write it, if it goes out on Friday, they're writing it Thursday at midnight. I can't be that person. Everything I write, like for LinkedIn or anything else, I write in advance. It's ready to go when I'm ready to publish it. And so that's the plan for the email as well.
That's awesome.
And it's also, what's really been interesting too is, a lot of the details you taught me about timing and messaging and why you need to have a link and a button and with the subject line, all that stuff. Now I'm analyzing every newsletter I get from other people to see what they're doing wrong.
Ooh, that's awesome. That's great.
That was pretty fun. I got one just yesterday from somebody who is well known in her field and should have known better. And there was a customization in the subject line that was supposed to be my name. And it had, like parentheses name, like she hadn't programmed it correctly. And I thought, right.
Yeah,
right?
That's
she needs
funny.
me to coach her, even though she's good at what she does. So there are a lot of moving parts, and having an expert. I always say, you hire an expert and then you trust their professional judgment, right? Do what they tell you because they know more than you about the topic. So I am really happy that it worked out that we connected this way.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, almost the last question. What would you say to someone considering working with me, but it's on the fence right now?
Well, a couple of pieces. One is talking to somebody who can see the big picture and get you started with a plan, get you taking any action. I took no action for months. Once I had a plan and I was accountable to somebody who could tell me right away what I was doing well or not well, it got me moving, right? Got me going. And when you rely on it, and I say this to people about my work, if you hire an expert, the expert's going to give you a lot of, beyond the work, is going to give you a lot of coaching, strategic advice, tips, hints, strategies, and is a great sounding board. And so you just have to kind of, make the move to engage that person to really see the benefits. And and I realize that you sometimes write emails for people. I'm a writer. I'm going to write my own email. I'm a good writer. And you were able to tell me which tactical parts, not the writing, but which tactical areas I needed to improve, right? You helped me change the certain aspects of things that I had already done. So that really bumped it up a notch, I think.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So finally, is there anything else that you would like to say or add, and maybe let us know where are your next steps from here after these emails that we've written together?
So next steps for me is, finish my course, get my newsletter sign up form going, which by the way, your recommendation for Active Campaign was great. I've been really happy with the tool. And I had no problems, finding so far what I needed in their documentation. So that was super helpful. For me now, it's execute to the plan, right? Like keep going, write the newsletter, get the course out, and knowing that I have the newsletter, not I have the email system set up now. It's going to be much easier for me to say, oh, I could go do an announcement. I could do another form for whatever I need a form for and get people on the list. So I think I'm through the major hurdle of getting going. So that's helpful.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to work with you. Are there any final words that you want to share?
No, I'm just very happy with the way it turned out. I mean, you've been a great resource, and I know I can come back to you, with questions later, or who knows, maybe other projects. But for some people, if you're a real technophobe or don't, no idea what to do with the system or all that, having somebody like you there to really go through every step of the way is great. For me, I didn't need help with technology and writing. I needed help with strategy.
Yeah, for sure.
And you just have to be willing to say, look, I can't know everything. And it's so much faster to engage an expert than it is to try and teach yourself.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. It's been awesome. I'm so looking forward to seeing your growth. I know we follow each other on LinkedIn, so I'm sure I'll be seeing you there, and I'm always available if you ever need anything. So I really want to thank you so much, Lisa. It's been awesome.
Great. You've been like a major influence in the last, couple of months to get me going. That's been great.
Awesome. That's so glad to hear. Thank you.
Okay.